Welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 84. Today I talk about feeding while learning, slumps, and how to be me. Hi everybody, welcome back. It's my last day in Korea. Gonna head out, and I can't believe that I've produced one video every single day for the last 5 days. Like, I'm back on track. And I'm mostly doing it like when the guys are streaming anyway, which is kind of nice. I feel like we're both kind of like producing content. Previously, I was just like studying VODs all the time. And every single time I wasn't doing that, I was talking on Skype with my kids. But yeah, the season has been going and going, and I've been like getting better and better at like more and more efficient at VOD consumption. And there's less games to watch. Like, the real legit problem is that there's like so few competitive matches now that like I'm bereft of excellent VODs to study for my opponents. So yeah, I have more time for videos. Congratulations. Also, it's like freaking 12:56 at night, and my focus level is so low at this point that I don't think I could watch a VOD and get anything out of it. So yeah, here I am. Gonna go to sleep soon. Anyway, before I do that, let's get into the next show. So the first question comes from Askichi-kun with an underscore between Askichi and Kun. And he or she asks, how can you learn to mentally handle feeding or toxicity when learning a champ and making it a slow, positive learning experience? It's a good question. I don't know if that's possible. You should be quote-unquote feeding. Okay, so here's how it works. You should be pushing your limits when you're learning a new champion. And I want you to imagine that learning a new champion and learning a champion that you know really well, the only difference is that the champion that you're learning that you already know really well and you're learning, you suck at learning more. Okay, so in a theoretically perfect application of your intensity, where you are like the Muhammad Ali of like League of Legends, you learning a champion at the highest level would look just like you learning it for the first time. So what I mean by that is you should have like a 50-50 mix of success and failure. So like if you're right on the border of what's possible, imagine everything below this card is everything that you can possibly do with a champion. And everything above this card is everything that you cannot do yet, you suck at, right? So what you should be doing should encapsulate both of these things. You should be right on the edge of what you're capable of doing and pushing your limit in every single one of those actions, just one notch up. That means half the time you're going to be like, oh, I did it. Yes, I did the outplay. And half the time you're going to be like, oh, and you're going to fail. And what happens is as people get better and better and better, they get lazier and lazier and lazier, and they start to drop below this line, and they're like, oh yeah, I can pretty much do everything and kind of coast along, and maybe I'll push my limits a little bit sometimes, but like, look, I love all this consistent performance and winning and stuff that goes on. And that is not what we allow on professional teams that I coach. You have to be pushing your limits in order to increase the rate of growth. Then we might stabilize that, like have them pull back so we can work on some strategic choreography and stuff like that. But like, let's be honest, raw mechanical skill is so important in this game. And I'll give you a really good example of one of my favorite EU teams, Splice. Yamato Cannon comes in, he's like, all right, I'm going to make this team a Korean team. The whole first split, he's teaching them like how to understand the map, how to play the map, how to make decisions on the map. And by the end of the split, they're really good at setting up Korean level, like Korean style plays and playing the side waves correctly and like grouping correctly and like really setting up a play. And then they get to the play and they start the execution and they fall flat on their faces. They would get to the play and fail, get to the play and fail. Nothing matters in League of Legends if you can set up the play and then you go to make the play and the other team is freaking better than you. So mechanical prowess is like a quintessential element of the choreography, like team fight choreography of League of Legends. So make sure you can do it, and then also work on the tactics. So after like Splice got almost relegated but pulled it back, yes. they spent a lot of time grinding it out. They spent a lot of time, I assume, because I saw them streaming and on solo queue like 24/7, just like grinding out their mechanical prowess. And I don't mean mechanical prowess like oh, I sucked at my reflexes. I mean, like, you have to learn the interactions in every single laning phase coordination. Like, oh, I have this champ, I have that champ. That's a lot of learning to do. And you got to be constantly pushing your limits there. Then you have to learn what it feels like to automatically play a team fight, which means you have to pick the same comp over and over again and grind it out. And it's a lot of work. And it's like it's a motor skill. Like when you play piano, you're learning a motor skill. You spend hours and hours and hours drilling in that muscle memory and pushing yourself to be perfect, you know, every single time you repeat it. So that's just what it takes. And now look at Splice. They get to the end of the next split, and their setup has improved even more. But now they get to the end of the play, and they crush because they managed to like train up that capability. So what I'm saying is you're going to probably fail a lot, and you're going to invite toxicity, and you should not ever stop learning a champ. So you need to find a way to make the learning in and of itself a slow, positive learning experience for you outside of how other people judge it. You have to not care. You have to be so selfishly, solely focused on your own joy and your own I'm going to use the same word. I hate that. This your own enjoyment of the process, of the growth that you're experiencing. That like other people who come and try to rain on your parade are just like, oh, I'm having so much fun over here. And you're able to like lean into the next maneuver that you're going to do as well. Okay? So that comes from here. It's not going to come from out there. Don't try to make other people happy with your learning in League of Legends. Do every single game what you need to do to enjoy growth. And use the mute button a lot. The next question comes from 2018 Brewer, Breuer on Twitter, and he or she asks, I used to play fairly well, but for a good while now, I've been playing poorly and can't get back to where I was. Any advice? Thanks. This is interesting. I am of the opinion that there's no such thing as a slump. Bear with me here. I am of the opinion, so there's an opinion, because like, how do you research a slump? I'm of the opinion that a slump is a label that people use when they are falling below what they expect to be able to do. But it's not that the performance is out of whack, it's the expectations are. So, I am of the opinion that a slump is simply you not being able to come to grips with your level of performance. That people's level of performance is constantly in flux. Okay, you're always getting better and then worse and then better and then worse and then better, better, and then worse and worse. And what you can do on a consistent basis is what you can do. Okay, so like if you were playing the way that you're playing now against really bad people, you'd look amazing and you'd feel great and you wouldn't feel like you were slumping. Maybe you would. Maybe the things you're measuring are objective. They're not subjective to your competitor. If you were playing against, I don't know, Soren Bjergsen every single game, and he was murdering you and grinding you into the dirt, you'd feel like you weren't playing very well. So like there's a lot of this subjective analysis, but objectively, I think that people perform exactly where they can perform. What you do is what you can do. And if you can't do better, then you can't do better. You're not in a performance slump. You're in a, I am living life and I am right here and this is what I can do phase, which is always, that phase is always, every single day, all the time. So how do you get out of that kind of like miasma of mental slumping? One of those is tracking. So I like to like track what I'm doing and see if I see progress. A lot of people think of a slump because what they do is they see their performance is increasing, then they see their performance is decreasing, and then they see their performance is increasing. And behind the scenes, sometimes you're getting worse at the game. Sometimes you stagnate. Sometimes you're getting better and it's not measurable. It doesn't come out in the system as it's measured, like on the ladder. Like you're getting better at something that isn't tracked into winning and losing unless you get way better at it, and then it is. So like you're actually improving, but you don't have the metrics to reveal that. So first thing that I like to do is say like measure stuff, observe stuff. Slow down what you're doing a little bit and take a second to like reflect on it and look at it and see how it's going. maybe it's actually going better than you think. And if it is going bad, then you have to question the system. You have to find a way of changing what you're doing and essentially like improving your improvement system. And there's a lot of like interesting philosophical books about that. There's my YouTube channel for that. There's things like goal setting and all of these like guru style systems that you can find recommended out there. But the main thing that you have to do when you're learning is to like steal from the people who've already figured it out and then look at what you're doing and compare it. So you need the mirror and the goal to kind of put it together. And so for that, it's really easy. You turn to streams who are playing like the champions you want to play, and you look at what they're doing and you ask yourself constantly, what is causing him to make that decision? What is causing him to make that decision, or her? And then you go look at your VOD and you like objectively look at yourself and you say, wow, I made the wrong decision. I could have done this better. I could have done this better. I could have done this. And then you go into the game focused on like one or two things that you want to get accomplished. And you ruminate on those. And after the game, you're like, oh, I didn't do this. Dang it. And you like whip yourself, not like that Catholic sect that was in the Da Vinci Code where they like, wore the thing around their leg and like hit it because it was spikes facing inward every time they wanted to like hurt themselves, and they flogged themselves in the back. But like, I want you after the game to go through the list of things you wanted to train that game and like metaphorically like whip yourself. Okay. And then you go through the next game and you go through your list again. And you're like, and you go through your VOD and you look at all your failures and you feel it. You feel how disappointed you are that you weren't focused in that point on the thing you said you were going to focus on, and then you failed, and you watch yourself do it. And that kind of like frustration and pain and angst that you experience helps you remember in the next game that that's what you want to do. That's how you drive up the importance of the failure to the point where you're like, okay, and then your brain remembers it. And you're like, okay, this is time I'm going to remember to do it, and I'm going to focus. So that's my recommendation on how to get out of your slump. I hope it helps. All right, the next question is from Dranzogger, Dranzogger on Twitter. And they ask, you swam. Have you heard of USRPT? Your thoughts on it, and how do you balance competition setting training with more relaxed settings? USRPT, is that race pace training, like ultra short race pace training? Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I'm not sure if I've heard of it. USRPT. I guess I have heard of it. It's really similar to high intensity interval training in running. And it's something that my club used almost exclusively as a training technique. And it's just incredibly effective. It lowers injury rate. It rapidly improves skill level, like in breaking out of slumps in both distance and short and sprinters. And it's based on, this is the interesting thing. So when I wanted to be a swim coach, I based a lot of my stuff, first of all, on my coach, like the coaches that I had philosophically. Then I studied myself a lot, and I was like, okay, this is how I learned. This is how a human body learns moving through the water. And then I went and I read basically every single coaching science research article and kinesthetic biomechanics article on like swimming, and a number of like incredibly deep, like not for public consumption books on the human anatomy of swimming, and learned like everything all the way down to the cellular level. And ultra short race pace training essentially lines up with everything we know about cellular adaptation to stress, and makes so much sense like scientifically that I just kind of think of it as a given now in swimming and sport. It's the way that I coached for a number of years. In fact, when I was coaching the special, what are they called? Special group? Rythma? Vi kan rythma swimexi. No, englanixi. So it's a group. Yeah, the special group, whatever, with like mentally handicapped swimmers. Because their focus level wasn't enough for like the long distance training, we did tons of ultra short race based training, like just loads and loads of like high intensity kind of like training. And three or four of my swimmers hold national records in Finland, and went to the Special Olympics in Greece. So it's really effective. I recommend all my competitors do it because I smashed them. So, I mean, like as a coach, I didn't smash them as a swimmer. I smashed them when I was coaching swimmers. Next question is from Ferg_fitness, F-E-R-G. And this person asks, Mr. Ferg asks, Mrs. Ferg, I'm not sure, maybe Miss even. You have inspired me to become a sports psychologist. Okay, maybe not married yet. Could you give me some tips on what I should do to get where you are now? This is the question where I said you want to be like me. Okay. Tips on what you should do to get where I am now. You want to get where I am now, so you want to be me. So swim competitively for 19 years, then become an English teacher, and then eventually hate English teaching enough that you want to change careers, rediscover your passion for swimming, drop everything and apply to like 40 bajillion swim coaching jobs till you finally get one, coaching 3-year-olds, work your way up to adults eventually, and then sneak into college lectures for a year and steal all of their knowledge because you studied English and mathematics for your bachelor's, and now you're like, what was I thinking? And now you have to retrain yourself as a scientist, so you got a lot of biology to catch up on. So go and study biology for years. Not years, for a year. Just felt like years because there was so much biology. And then go get a master's degree in sports psychology with free tuition from Finland. And then watch a StarCraft 2 tournament and be like, wow, those guys actually need a sports psychologist. I didn't really want to do sports psychology. I was more about like kids and like helping kids like not be fat. So exercise psychology, but that kid's on stage and he's kind of fat and he's crying because he just lost a StarCraft match. So maybe I can help him. And then make lots and lots of videos and blogs until HotshotGG sees one and is like, I should call this guy because my team is shitting the bed. And then he calls you and then win the split. That's how you be like me. Or you could, okay, so I'm assuming you're not in university yet. So what I recommend is study biology and pre-med and psychology. Because in my opinion, neurology or neuropsychology is way more important than psychology for high performance. You need a combination of understanding what's happening like physically in the brain and in the body, and then you understand the software side of that as we know it now, which is changing every single day. As we learn more and more about the actual biology, the software is like, oh, actually that's not how that works. There was a whole psychological theory about that, but we found out this cell does this thing, and now we know that, so now this whole psychological thing that we were observing from the outside is like not so applicable anymore. So I would study neuropsychology, and then I would just like study a lot of sport, like sport management, because a lot of the skills you need to coach like at a professional level when in your like late 30s and 40s is like sport management stuff. And then I would just like stick yourself underneath, like start doing sport, like start coaching sport or managing sport or being in sport or just like sport, and figure out that world and like what inspires you. Even if you're an athlete, like just do it. Yeah. So cool. That's what I recommend. Next question is from Sidra, C-Y-D-R-A-A-A, Sidra. And she asks, or he asks, what role in this state of the game and meta is best for carrying teams? I've shifted from AD carry, mid, and jungle. What is the best? So the meta is 6.18. I think patch just came out today or something. The one that they nerfed Cassiopeia in. Nerfed her W range. They nerfed Aurelion Soul. I think. I haven't looked at the patch notes yet, but those are the two I remember seeing. Oh, Ivern just came out, or Ivern, or Invern, or Irvin. I don't know his name. The cool new jungler that doesn't kill people. He's a pacifist. Okay, what is the best position for carrying in this meta? I think the best position for carrying in any meta is jungler or mid, because jungler can impact the map so well, and you can spend a lot of time looking at the map while auto-attacking minions. And also, you, as a jungler, if you get ahead of the opposing jungler in solo queue, you can have more impact than laner versus laner. So as laner versus laner, mid, you get ahead, and you can be like pretty far ahead, but then like a jungler can gank and the other person can catch up, or they can just like luckily kill you, or something can go wrong. But as a jungler, you can literally like go and find the other jungler after you get ahead of them, and you can like cut their leg off and cut their other leg off, and then cut their fingers off, and like stuff it in the box, and then mail that box to your to their fountain, and then they can respawn. And you can like, there have been jungle matchups where like I've seen and even been like 4 to 6 levels ahead of the other jungler. It's absurd how much you can abuse jungle if you get ahead. And then you just like go into a lane and you're like, blah! And the other enemy laner's like, what happened? I was 7 CS up. I was winning my lane. I got 2 good trades in. And then you're like, yeah, but it's 2v1. You're dead. And the other jungler is not even a champion. He's just like a particle on the map that's moving around trying to like kill mini wolves. And yeah, so I think jungle is fun because your level of dominance can like go hyper crazy. And then I like mid because I like playing assassins, and then I like killing my mid laner opponent and then going somewhere else and killing them. But I think mathematically I read somewhere that like 80 carry actually is the one where you carry most games, the hardest. So probably 80 carry is a good bet, like mathematically. It just doesn't feel good, maybe. Don't really know. Sorry. That's like meta unspecific. But it's definitely not top in this meta. Definitely not top. Feels like if you get a head top, you just kind of like take a tower and then all of a sudden you're exposed and then they just come kill you over and over again. I don't know. That's how I feel in solo queue. Anyway. FGL Science, but then the last E is a 3. Asks, hey Weldon, what do I do after I accomplish my goals? And how do I go even further? That is a very strange question because you just asked 2 questions that are the antithesis of each other. What do you do after you accomplished your goals? You're done. Congratulations. You are now happy and you can just live your life. And then you say, how do I go even further? Oh, wait, I thought you accomplished your goals. So the answer, my dear friend, is to set new goals that are further. Then you haven't accomplished them either at that point. So the first question is kind of moot. And so what you do when you have new goals is you go and do them. Then you accomplish them. And then if you want to go further, you set new ones. And if you don't, you're happy. Congratulations. So I think maybe I need more information. Maybe the problem here is an information gap because according to your question, you both have accomplished your goals, but also want to do more and don't understand that the simplest thing would be to just set new goals and then go do them. So fill me in, buddy, on what exactly you want to know. And then I will try to answer you again in better terms. But actually, it's probably just because it's like 1:20 in the morning here and I'm kind of punch drunk, but I love your question. I think it's a good one to end on, and I will see you guys in my next show. And please check out my sponsors. Me. I don't have any advertisements on the show. I'm trying to sell you my stuff. My free reading list, where I, for free, tell you all the cool books that I actually like reading and that people keep asking me. I'm doing this. You know why I'm doing this? You know why I'm doing this? Is because literally, like 10 times a day or more, people ask me, hey, can you recommend me a book? And I'm so sick of it. So, sorry, everybody. Not you. I'm not sick of you. Everybody today who asked me that and is feeling bad right now, they're like, oh, is he talking about me? Yes, I'm talking about you, but I'm sick of it. I'm not sick of you. I love you. But anyway, I'm so sick of it. I just want to have a reading list that I can point people to, and they like go there, right there, and they read my reading list, and then they know to go what to go read. So that's that. The 5-minute journal, which I bugged this company. I was like, hey guys, I bought your thing and it's amazing and it changed my life. And then I bought one for my wife and then we did it and it changed her life. And it was so funny. Like, she was struggling with her PhD and like hadn't written an article and was like working on an article and was like barriers, you know, mental barriers and physical barriers and idea barriers. And then we did the 5-minute journal, and literally after like a year and a half or 2 years of her PhD, in 5 days, she wrote her entire first paper. 5-minute journal, baby. 5 minutes a day to unlock motivation in your life. Anyway, I use it like with every single team that I work with. I don't always get them the journal. Sometimes I just do it like in blank paper or whatever, but like, or sometimes I break it apart into my own activities. But anyway, you should buy the 5-minute journal and check it out. Even if like it's so simple, you can actually just go like look at what's inside of it and like literally make your own spreadsheet and do it yourself. You don't have to buy it, but it's a cool book. I like having physical books. They also make an app now. And I bugged the company. I was like, give me a referral program. I sell so many of your freaking journals to all of my friends by buying them and giving them to them or recommending them. And they were like, okay, we have a referral program. So if you use my link down below, I get something like, I don't know, some percentage of some nothingness. But anyway, it's like a token thing. So it's nice. So yeah, use my link. Check out the 5-minute journal. And then finally, my MAC program, Mindfulness, Acceptance, Commitment. The 3 core principles for like high improvement and self-improvement. The MAC program. Started making it in 2013. It's in its 3rd iteration. And its best one yet. I was just actually listening to episode 3 today. There's 47 episodes. And I was like, I need to re-record the first week again, I think. I think the first week is like starting to like need to be refreshed. I think the last week that I recorded over again was the 4th one. Used to be like one big hour-and-a-half thing, and then 7 days later there was another one. Now it's like every single day there's like, I broke it up into like 7 different, instead of one 70-minute thing, it's like 7 10-minute things, plus I added my own mindfulness thing in there too. So it used to be that you had to go buy headspace.com in order to have guided meditation online. And now, by my Mac program, and I threw it in there compiled with the actual Mac program itself. So it's like all together and beautiful. And you get to listen to my nice voice like helping you meditate every single day. And that will improve your pick ban. It won't actually improve your pick ban. You need to study more VODs. But it will improve what you do after your pick ban when you have to play with the crappy champion that you accidentally selected. Bye, guys.